Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Preparing for an interview specifically for the job role of Electronics Embedded Hardware Design Engineer. In my previous videos, that is from part 1 to part 5, we have discussed various topics and concepts specifically focusing on when you are preparing for an interview. And hence, in this video, now we are going to do a self-assessment that how much we have learned and what are the possible questions which can be asked during the interview, and these questions are based upon our previous videos, what we have learned in our previous videos. So let's quickly begin with our first question. You can see the voltage rating of a particular capacitor is 200 volts. What is the maximum RMS sinusoidal signal that can be safely applied to it? So I repeat the question. The voltage rating of a particular capacitor is 200 volts. What is the maximum RMS sinusoidal signal that can be safely applied to it? So if we have a capacitor loaded with this symbol, this is a capacitor of some capacitance, and its voltage rating is provided as 200 volts, right? And the question is, what is the maximum RMS sinusoidal signal which can be applied to it? So let us consider this is a sinusoidal signal. So we need to find out what is this RMS voltage of this sinusoidal signal which can be applied to this capacitor so that it is not damaged. If the RMS voltage of that signal is greater than that value, calculated value, then the capacitor will be damaged. So from this question itself, the information what we have is the peak to peak voltage, that is the maximum voltage the capacitor can withstand, that is the peak to peak of that sinusoidal signal, maximum could be 200 volts. So this peak to peak voltage is 200 volts. Hence, from our previous video, we know the formula that peak to peak voltage is equal to twice of the Emax. So that is a maximum voltage, and Emax is equal to root 2 of ERMS or VRMS, voltage RMS. Now if you transfer this 2 by root 2 towards the left hand side, that is peak to peak voltage, then you get ERMS is equal to EPP, that is peak to peak voltage divided by 2 root 2. And since we know the peak to peak voltage of this given sinusoidal signal can go maximum of 200 volts, hence the peak to peak voltage is 200 divided by 2 root 2, since this is a 2. And when you do the calculation, you get the answer of 71 volts. So we need to understand that how the information which we learned in a previous video can be practically used in our design. Because in our design, when you are selecting a capacitor, a component such as capacitor, you need to understand that what is my system requirements, what is the maximum input signal which I will receive, and if you use a component which is way greater than the requirement, then it can increase the cost of your design, which you don't want to happen. To have a perfect or a proper design, you have to choose the optimum values of the component. Hence, in this question, you get an idea that to choose the optimum value of a capacitor, you need to have the information such as what is the maximum input voltage it should be able to sustain. So any RMS voltage less than 17 volts, you can use this capacitor in such a way which has a maximum rating of 200 volts in a proper way. If any RMS signal which is greater than 71 volts, which can lead to the damage of the capacitor. Hence, you understand that your input should not go beyond the 71 volts RMS from the input side. Right? Hope it is clear. If you have any questions, please post your questions in the comment section below. Now let us move on to our next question. Compute the power dissipated in a component where I equal to 0.3 sine of 63t plus pi and E equal to 3.0 sine of 63t plus pi by 2. Now from this question we have an equation or the value for the current, and we have E, that is voltage. Now please recall from my previous video that P equal to ERMS into IRMS into cos phi 1 minus phi 2, where this is ERMS is the ERMS voltage, IRMS is the RMS current, and cos phi is the power factor. Now since we have this current and voltage, this is the maximum amplitude and this is the maximum amplitude of the voltage, and 0.3 is the maximum amplitude of the current, and 3.0 is the maximum amplitude of the voltage. But since this is an amplitude and we need into term ERMS, hence 0.3 divided by root 2. Now this by 0.3 divided by root 2 gives the IRMS current, and 3.0 divided by root 2 gives the ERMS voltage. Cos of phi 1 minus phi 2. Our phi 1 is pi, phi 2 is pi by 2. Pi minus pi by 2 gives pi by 2. Hence, you do the calculation, you get 0.9 divided by 2 root 2 watts. Hence, this is the power dissipated by component. Now, in some cases, whenever you are designing, you also need to understand what is the power dissipated by the component and what is the input signal. If you know the input signals such as voltage and current, then what is the power dissipated by that component is to be identified. Then for that we have this formula, that is P equal to ERMS into IRMS cos phi 1 minus phi 2, where ERMS is the ERMS voltage, IRMS is the IRMS current, cos phi 1 minus phi 2 is the overall power factor, which is the phase difference between the two, voltage and current. Since this is the phase difference, this is the phase 1 is the signal 1, the current signal having the phase angle of pi, and voltage signal is having the phase angle of pi by 2. Hence the phase difference is pi minus pi by 2. Now hence we get cos pi by 2, and this is ERMS independently calculated for the voltage 3 by root 2, and this is IRMS is 0.3 by root 2. When you multiply and do the calculations, you get the answer. Hope it is clear. Now let's move on to our next question. Question number 3. Two currents are added in a circuit and is given by 0 plus J4 and 3 plus J0 milliamperes. Now these are the two independent currents flowing in a circuit, and find the resultant current I and compute its phase and amplitude. Now we need to understand the question. Now for example, we have a circuit. We are saying that there are two currents. Obviously the two different currents will have to flow through two different branches. This is one branch I1 and another branch I2. Now we say find the resultant current I. So that means that both the currents are adding together. How they will add? They will meet at a point. right? And the resultant current I is following. Hence, our resultant current I is equal to I1 plus I2. Correct? That's the reason our I1 is 0 plus J4 and I2 is 3 plus J0. When you do this addition, 0 plus 3 is 3, J4 plus J0 is J4, so our equal to 3 plus J4. Now, to compute the magnitude of the current, the formula is modular of I square. This gives the magnitude of the current, and which is equal to product of that signal into the complex conjugate of that signal. Hence, our this current value, resultant current value is 3 plus J4, then multiplied by its complex conjugate or the conjugate of its own. Then the conjugate will become the imaginary side, the J will become, the plus J will become minus J, and hence multiply with itself. Then the value 3 plus J4 multiply is with itself of its conjugate value. So its conjugate is 3 minus J4. So 3 plus J4 and its conjugate value is 3 minus J4, and you multiply with each other, then you get this 3 is a 9 plus J 4 4 is 16, and this is plus and minus, so it becomes plus, as it is a whole square. J square will become minus 1, and minus 1 into minus 1 it will become plus. So when you do that, you get a plus 16, and 9 plus 16 is equal to 25. And since we know this is modulus of I square, right? So I square, the square will go to the right hand side, and under root of 25 gives you 5 amperes, and hence the amplitude of the resultant current is 5 amperes. The resultant current is 5 amperes. Hope it is clear. Next, we move on to find out the phase of the current signal, resultant current signal. Now, we know that to calculate the phase of our signal in a complex form from a previous video, you can recall that the formula is given by tan inverse of y by x. So, in this case, this is x plus j y form, and hence the phase angle of that particular resultant current signal is equal to tan inverse of y by x, and y is 4 and x is 3. Hence, the tan inverse of 4 by 3 is tan inverse of 1.33. If you do the calculation using a scientific calculator, you get a phase angle of 53 degrees. So in this way, we are able to calculate the amplitude of the resultant current signal, also the phase angle of the resultant current. Now let's move on to the last question for this video, that is question number 4. A particular resistor is labeled as 100 ohms at 2 watts. The wattage rating indicates the maximum power that can be dissipated in resistor without overheating. What is the maximum DC voltage that can safely be applied across the resistor? Right? So we have a component, we have a resistor which we have to use in our design, and that particular resistor value is 100 ohms and its power rating is 2 watts. That is, it can sustain the power of maximum power of 2 watts. And if this resistor is used to dissipate more than 2 watts, this resistor will burn or it can get damaged. to avoid that, we need to find out the maximum DC voltage which can be applied. So beyond that DC voltage, you should not give as an input to that particular resistor, otherwise resistor can burn as the power information is given. So the power formula is P equal to EI equal to E square by R, or since I equal to V by R, E and I equal to E by R, so P equal to E square R. So you can write P equal to EI or P equal to E square R. Right? Now if we move this R to the left hand side, it will become RP, resistance and the power, and E square moving to the left hand side, it becomes under root of RP, and then that E is the maximum voltage which we can apply, and hence we know that resistance value is 100, power value is 2, so 100 into 2 gives 200, and under root of 200 gives equal to 10 root 2. If you simplify this, you get a maximum voltage of 14.1 volts. Hence, by doing this calculation, we are able to understand that if we choose this particular rating of this resistor in our design, which has a power rating of 100 ohms and which has a resistance of 100 ohms and a power rating of 2 watts, the maximum input voltage which you can give to the resistor in the design is 14.1 volts. If the voltage is going beyond 14.1 volts, then the resistor can damage and it will not work in your circuit, and that can cause the failure of your circuit design. So dear friends, I think it is clear the importance of the previous videos, what we have discussed, and the various concepts and the information which we have learned in my previous videos, how they are used practically when you are designing a circuit using these questions. So I don't assure that in the interview they will ask these questions exactly, but I'm sure that they will be asking the concepts or the information, the knowledge. They will be testing your knowledge, something which if you understand these questions, you will be able to answer the other questions related to this kind of questions. Hope you enjoy this video and you like it. See you in my next video. Please do subscribe.